When you visit, say, the Grand Canyon, roads, bridges, and water pipelines are just a few of the things needed to make sure your visit is pleasant. And sometimes they need repairs. As Cronkite News reporter Jordan Evans reports, U.S. Secretary of Interior Ryan Zinke visited the park this weekend to see some of those things that need not to be fixed just here in Arizona, but in parks across the nation.
The Grand Canyon is one of the nation's most popular parks for tourism. From the scenic views to the lodging to the guided tours, the Grand Canyon generated about $900 million in economic benefits just in 2016. But now, national parks across the nation are needing about $12 billion for infrastructure and facilities.
With 330 million visitors to our park system, 7 million visitors here, our parks are being loved to death.
Secretary of Interior Ryan Zinke took a bus along the south rim of the Grand Canyon Saturday. He stopped to see some of the areas that need to be fixed. Those include historic cabins and a water treatment plant, as well as the Trans-Canyon Pipeline.
It's time for America to step up and let's rebuild our parks to make sure we have the same experience for the next generation.
Here at the Grand Canyon, this park needs about $330 million to fix maintenance that's been deferred. That's only a small part of the nearly $12 billion needed to repair all of the national parks.
Deferred maintenance is maintenance that hasn't happened to buildings, assets, roads, utilities that needs to be done, but because of various reasons, whether it's budget or time, hasn't happened, and it leaves buildings and assets in poor condition. The opportunity we have today is funding that may come our way and be able to raise the profile of that topic and fund those projects that need to be done.
That funding could come through competing plans in Congress, which would provide billions of dollars to the National Park Service to make repairs. National parks in Arizona alone need $531 million. California needs the most at $1.8 billion. So one way to help curb that demand is for the community to get involved.
I heard that number and I was shocked. I was like, wow, like this is why volunteers come. This is a perfect opportunity. We need volunteers to come out and do things like this and to help lower our backlog maintenance. And it's things like painting a building or fixing a fence, just little things like that that anyone can come out and do.
But volunteers are only part of the solution. Some projects need paid contractors and engineers. So one plan currently in the U.S. Senate would develop federal lands for all sources of energy. That has some people concerned about the negative environmental impacts and accusing Zinke of supporting corporate interests.
Most of what he's done is undermining, public lands and being on the side of oil and, extractive industries. So I think, there needs to be more done to be protecting these lands and not to be selling them out for profit.
But Zinke disagrees. Money coming from renewable or non-renewable energy developed on federal lands would go a long way to taking care of long overdue maintenance projects.
The underlying proposition is this: if you're going to create wealth and energy on public lands, then I think you also have an obligation to fund our public lands in perpetuity.